I want to ask you a question that most people are too afraid to answer honestly. When was the last time you felt truly, deeply at peace with your bank account? I am not talking about that fleeting moment of satisfaction when a big check clears or when you see a positive number on your investment app. I am talking about a deep, soul-level rest where you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that you and your family are taken care of, regardless of what the market does tomorrow. For most of my life, I lived in a state of constant, quiet calculation. I was running a race where the finish line seemed to move 10 feet further away for every 5 feet I ran. I believed the lie that if I just worked one more hour, closed one more deal, or saved 1% more, the underlying anxiety would finally stop. But it never did. It only grew louder. I was a slave to the idea that my effort was the sole creator of my wealth, and that is a very heavy way to live. I am Rabbi David, and I want to welcome you back to the Millionaire Rabbi. We created this space to explore the intersection of ancient spiritual wisdom and modern financial prosperity. Many people think that being a rabbi means you only care about the world to come, but the truth is that the Torah is a practical blueprint for living a life of abundance right here in this physical world. It contains timeless laws about energy, money, and mindset that have allowed our people to thrive even in the most difficult circumstances throughout history. Today, I want to share with you the exact moment my life shifted. It was the day I realized I was working far too hard for the wrong master. It was the day I stopped working for money and instead let a powerful Jewish law start working for me. Think about the way we are conditioned to view our labor. From the time we are children, we are told that life is a competition. We are told that the world is a place of scarcity and that if we do not grab what we can, someone else will take our share. This creates a vibration of fear that follows us into our offices, our boardrooms, and even our bedrooms at night. Even when we achieve success, we often feel like frauds who might be found out at any moment, or we worry that the pile of gold we have built is just one bad break away from disappearing. This is what I call the treadmill of earning. You are running as fast as you can, sweating, breathing hard, and pushing your body to the limit, yet when you look around, you are in the exact same spot emotionally. You are still worried. You are still tired. You are still looking for that elusive sense of security that money promises but never seems to deliver on its own. The problem isn't that you are lazy. In fact, most of the people I speak with are working far too hard. They are burning the candle at both ends and wondering why the light is starting to flicker. The real issue is that we have fallen for the ultimate illusion. We believe in the illusion of control. We think that our hands are the ones providing the bread. We think that our cleverness and our grit are the primary reasons for our success. In the Talmud, our sages teach us a profound truth that challenges everything the modern world tells us. They teach that a person's sustenance for the entire year is decreed for them during the high holidays. Now, when you first hear that, it might sound like a reason to be passive, but it is actually the ultimate key to freedom. It means that while we must act in the world, we are not the ones in charge of the results. I remember a specific time in my own life when I was juggling several business ventures while trying to be a present father and a leader in my community. I was working 18-hour days. I was checking my emails at the dinner table while my children were telling me about their day. I was physically in the room, but my mind was lost in a spreadsheet or a contract. I told myself I was being a good provider. I told myself I was doing what a responsible, ambitious man is supposed to do. But one night, I found myself sitting in my home office at 2 in the morning, staring at a flickering computer screen, and I felt a profound sense of emptiness. I realized that I had become a servant to the money rather than the money serving my higher purpose. I was working for the currency, and I realized that money is a very cruel and demanding boss who never says thank you. That night, I opened a book of Jewish law that had been sitting on my shelf gathering dust. I came across the concept of bitachon. Bitachon is often translated as trust, but it is so much deeper than that. It is a profound sense of security. It is the quiet confidence that the Creator of the universe is personally involved in your life and that He is the only source of your success. I realized that my 18-hour days were not a sign of my dedication, they were a sign of my lack of trust. I was acting as if the weight of the world was on my shoulders, forgetting that there is a master of the world who carries it all. I then began to look into the practice of maser, the tithing of 10% of one's earnings. In our tradition, we are taught that our wealth is not actually ours. We are merely the stewards or the distributors of God's resources. When we receive a paycheck or a profit, 10% of that money already belongs to the poor. It is not ours to give, it is ours to return to its rightful place. At first, this felt terrifying. My business mind screamed that giving away 10% of my top line would ruin my margins. I was living in a paradigm of scarcity, believing that every dollar I gave away was a dollar I would never see again. But the Torah offers a unique challenge regarding maser. In the book of Malachi, God says, "Test me in this." It is the only area of Jewish life where we are permitted, even encouraged, to test the Almighty. He promises that if we open our hands to give, He will open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing until there is no room to hold it. This is the shift from scarcity to abundance. Scarcity says there is only so much to go around, so I must grab and hold. Abundance says the source is infinite, and the more I allow wealth to flow through me, the more room I create for wealth to flow to me. Think of your finances like a plumbing system. If the water only comes in but never goes out, the pressure builds up until the pipes eventually burst or the water becomes stagnant and useless. But when there is a steady, intentional outflow, there is a constant demand for a fresh inflow. This is the spiritual law of circulation. By giving maser, you are essentially telling the Creator that you are a reliable conduit. You are saying, "I am not a dead end, I am a channel." And when the Almighty finds a channel that does not clog, He sends more through it because He knows it will reach the people who need it. Imagine you have a business partner who provides all the equipment, all the ideas, and all the customers. This partner tells you that you can keep 90% of the profits for yourself, and all he asks is that you take the remaining 10% and use it to help his other children who are struggling. You would jump at that deal. You would call it the greatest contract in history. Yet, we often hesitate because we forget who the senior partner is. We start thinking we are the ones doing all the heavy lifting. We think our cleverness or our late nights are what generated the revenue. But the truth is, the ability to produce wealth is a gift. When we withhold the 10%, we are effectively trying to cut our senior partner out of the deal. Maser is the act of acknowledging that partnership every single time we earn a dollar. I know the fear that comes up when you look at your bills and then look at that 10%. It feels like a hole in your pocket. But I want you to reconsider what that money actually represents. When you hold on to that 10% out of fear, you are operating from a place of survival. You are saying, "I do not know if there will be enough tomorrow, so I must hoard today." This fear actually constricts your ability to think creatively and see new opportunities. It keeps your brain in a state of stress. Giving Maaser is the ultimate act of courage and psychological freedom. It is a declaration of independence from the physical world. It proves to your own soul that your security does not come from your bank balance, but from the source of all balances. How do we do this practically? It starts with a simple, non-negotiable decision. I highly recommend opening a separate bank account specifically for Maaser. Every time money comes in, whether it is a paycheck, a business profit, or even a gift, move 10% into that account immediately. Do not wait until the end of the month to see what is left over, because usually nothing is left over. Our expenses have a way of expanding to meet our income. By moving the Maaser first, you are prioritizing your partnership with the divine. It becomes a sacred obligation rather than an afterthought. You will be amazed at how the remaining 90% seems to stretch further. There is a hidden blessing in the remainder that defies mathematical logic. It is as if the money becomes more efficient and the unforeseen expenses that used to plague you suddenly begin to disappear. You might ask, what if I am in debt? What if I am just starting out and struggling to pay rent? Our sages teach that even someone who receives charity should give a small amount of charity. This is because the act of giving is what transforms the person. It shifts your identity from a victim of circumstances to a benefactor of the world. If 10% feels absolutely impossible right now, do not give up on the principle. Start with something. Start with 1% or 5%. The goal is to build the muscle of generosity and to break the grip of scarcity on your heart. Once you see the peace of mind and the unexpected doors that open when you start giving, you will naturally want to reach that 10% mark and perhaps even go beyond it. Remember that God invited you to test Him in this. This is not about being pious or perfect. It is about a practical law of the universe. Just as gravity works whether you believe in it or not, the law of Maaser works because it is built into the fabric of creation. When you become a giver, you align yourself with the nature of the Creator, who is the ultimate giver, and when you are in alignment with Him, His blessings can flow into your life without any obstruction. You stop being a person who is chasing money, and you become a person who money seeks out, because you have proven that you know what to do with it once it arrives. I have seen this work in my own life and in the lives of countless students and entrepreneurs. I have seen businesses on the brink of bankruptcy turn around the moment the owner committed to Maaser. I have seen individuals find unexpected sources of income that far exceeded the amount they gave away. This is not a magic trick. It is a spiritual technology. It is about shifting your focus from what you can get to what you can give. When you take care of God's children, He takes care of your business. He becomes your guarantor. So, I challenge you today. Do not take my word for it. Take His word for it. Start where you are, with what you have, and watch how the windows of heaven begin to open for you. The journey to true wealth is not about accumulating more. It is about becoming a person who can be trusted with more, and there is no faster way to grow than to open your hand and your heart to the world around you. When you make your wealth a tool for kindness, you turn your workplace into a sanctuary and your bank account into a source of life. That is the secret of the Millionaire Rabbi, and it is a secret that is now in your hands. This transformation begins deep within your heart and mind, long before it ever reflects in your bank statement. You see, the greatest burden we carry in the modern world is the illusion of total responsibility. We have been taught that we are the sole architects of our fortune, and while hard work is a holy endeavor, the belief that it all rests on our shoulders creates a crushing weight of anxiety. When you embrace the principle of Maser, you are not just giving away money, you are giving away that weight. You are making a profound psychological shift from being a slave to your labor to being a partner with the infinite. The Hebrew word for wealth is osher, which is spelled with the same letters as the word for happiness. This is not a coincidence. True wealth is the ability to look at your life and feel a sense of profound peace, knowing that you are provided for and that your existence has a higher meaning. Consider the story of a man I knew named David. David spent 20 years building a real estate firm, working 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. By all worldly standards, he was a massive success. He had the cars, the house, and the reputation. But David was a prisoner. He was constantly afraid that a market shift or a bad deal would strip everything away. He lived in a state of perpetual high alert, his eyes always darting toward his phone, his mind always calculating the next move. He was working for money, and money was a cruel master. When he finally decided to implement the practice of setting aside a tenth of his earnings for the poor and for the spread of wisdom, he told me it felt like he was finally breathing for the first time in decades. He realized that if he was managing God's funds, then the ultimate responsibility for the success of the business lay with God. His blood pressure dropped, his relationships with his children healed because he was finally present at the dinner table, and ironically, his business began to thrive even more. He was no longer making decisions out of desperation or fear, but out of clarity and purpose. This is what happens when you move from the mindset of scarcity to the mindset of abundance. In the scarcity mindset, every dollar given is a dollar lost. In the abundance mindset, every dollar given is a seed planted in fertile soil. You begin to see your income not as a hoard to be guarded, but as energy to be directed. When you use your wealth to support a local soup kitchen, to help a struggling student pay for tuition, or to provide for a family in crisis, that money takes on a holy quality. It becomes an extension of your soul's light in this world. The Talmud teaches us that the world stands on 3 pillars: the study of Torah, the service of the heart, and acts of loving kindness. When your financial life is built upon these pillars, it becomes unshakable. You no longer wake up wondering if you will have enough to survive. You wake up wondering how much good you can do with what you have been given. I want you to imagine the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are not alone in your business. Imagine the confidence of walking into a negotiation knowing that you have a divine guarantor. This is the reality for those who trust in the system of the Creator. It is a shift from the hustle culture of the world to the rhythm of the soul. You will find that when you prioritize the needs of others, your own needs are met in ways you never could have planned. I have seen entrepreneurs find that their remaining 90% has more blessing, more bracha than the 100% ever did. They find that they avoid the hidden costs of life, the unnecessary repairs, the medical bills that come from stress, the bad investments born of greed. Their money goes further because it is protected by the merit of their kindness. You might be sitting there thinking that you will start giving once you have made it, once you have reached a certain level of comfort. But the secret is that you reach that level of comfort by starting now. Do not wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is the one you create through your own initiative. Even if you can only give a small amount today, give it with a full heart. Give it with the intention of being a channel for good. You are telling the universe that you are a person who can be trusted with resources. You are proving that you are a vessel that will not leak but will overflow to water the gardens of others. This path requires a leap of faith, but it is a leap onto solid ground. The Creator of the world does not want you to live in fear. He does not want you to be a slave to the pursuit of paper and gold. He wants you to be a leader, a provider, and a light. By choosing to trust in His provision, you are stepping into your true identity. You are becoming a millionaire not just in your currency, but in your character. You are building a legacy that will outlast your physical presence, a legacy of impact and grace. So, my friend, take the challenge. Open your books and open your heart. Look at your finances not as a burden, but as an opportunity to partner with the divine. The day I stopped working for money and let this Jewish law work for me was the day my life truly began. It was the day I found freedom, peace, and a prosperity that goes far beyond mere numbers. It is a journey I pray you embark on, and I promise you, the rewards are immeasurable. Shalom.